Thank you all for coming. My name is Salama Locks, and I am the commissioner representing San Rafael, and I am the new chair of the commission. Thank you. Today, we have a dynamic speaker. Linda Jackson is a program director for the Aging Action Initiative, which is a collaboration of over 65 agencies and groups working for an age-friendly Marin. She has over 30 years planning experience with the Transportation Authority of Marin and the City of San Rafael. Linda has a master's in planning from University of Texas, Austin. Is that right? And a BA in Urban Studies from Wesley College. Linda makes her home in San Rafael. Linda?
Thank you, Shalama, for that. And welcome everybody to learning more about Aging Action Initiative 2017. Before we get going here, get sort of adjusted with the paperwork, there is, I think I'm okay. I think I got it. And I do have that, yes. First I got to get rid of this. This is the sign-up list for a copy of the PowerPoint, if you want it. So we'll get that started around. So I thank the Commission on Aging for the chance to talk with you about Aging Action Initiative this year, as well as Michelle and the county staff team who put this all together and makes this work. Are we doing okay? Okay. Amy's going to get behind me to mess with the color. And I want to recognize the chair of the Steering Committee for Aging Action Initiative, Joe O'Hare from Whistle Stop, and anybody. And I'm trying to see, we have one new member who's here. Anybody else who's on? So that would, if you're on the chair, on the Steering Committee, yes, that would be Lee and Terry. Great. Terry's got her first meeting coming up, but we'll count her. And then also Shelley Hamilton is here, who will work as a team on this. And you'll see her. We came up with some questions to ask you at the end, and so she'll be recording, and we'll be asking you some things to help us with our strategic plan and what we're doing. So moving forward. So we'll start with a landscape of aging. You all know this. So if you have other facts and things that we need to know about, let either Shelley or me know, particularly if it relates to your community, because we have 12 jurisdictions in Marin County. So each town is extremely unique. And in the county of Marin, there's another 12 that are also unique little villages. But we'll do the landscape, talk about what it looks like in Marin right now. I'm going to talk about what we're doing in Aging Action Initiative this year, and then we'll talk about our strategic plan that is in development and an opportunity for you to hear more once it is in a draft form. So this is a picture of the demographics. And can you see that little line right here? This is where we are between 2017, 2018. Actually, this is the blue line is Marin residents who are aged 0 to 19, and the red line, Marin residents who are 60 and over. If you look at just the school-age population, 5 to 19, they're actually right about now crossing over to having more older people than school-age people in Marin County. Now, this is a sign of the demographic bubble of us going through. We are right here on top, but over the decades going forward to 2015, you can see how we just keep living. We just keep going. And you can see the dip are people who are in their 20s and 30s. And that's because it's hard to find a place to live here. So we're not a community for young adults, but we are a community for children, families, and older adults. Now, the elder economic security income is interesting way to look at how we're doing financially, individually. The average Social Security in Marin County is a little under 20,000, which is no surprise. There's no raise in Social Security, so it's around 20,000 average probably 20 years ago. But what you can see, the elder federal poverty level is around 11,000, a little over that. 3 times that's around 30,000. That's how much is estimated that a single renter in Marin would need to live comfortably in Marin County, given the cost of housing. And so one person, single renter, has a hard time making ends meet in Marin. You can also see where some of the data that we've seen in other reports, like Viva Marin, a lot of older Latino seniors who've been working here, older adults who've been working here their whole lives, don't have a lot of resources for their older years, their retirement years. So this median rent is a few years old, but it's up around a little over 2 now. But the stat, about 3/4 of us do own our own home, and another quarter are renting. And that's a population that's really hit by the rises in rents. How many people here have a friend or a neighbor or a relative who's been hit by they've had to move, hit by the rising rents and had to move? Yeah, we got 2 in the back by the camera. This particularly hits Latinos who 62% of older Latinos are paying 1/3 or more than 1/3 of their income for rent. And this is the health status. So on the left, I'll go back. This is the Elder Economic Security Index, the EESI. So if we come here to the income levels, compare on the left, the EESI, if you're making more than 30,000, your income, your health is, you can see your report on how you are health-wise on the left compared with if you make below the EESI. And the difference is really in those who, the bright blue, is it coming out, bright blue? Purple, is you're reporting that it's excellent. So if you are below that amount of money, income, your health, you're reporting that your health is not as strong as it would be if you had more. And you could see in the this color, brown, it's blue on mine, it is much larger if you have a lower income. This is part of what we talk about when we talk about equity in aging. It's really access, but it's more than access, it's actually getting more. People who don't, some people need more in order to get the same as other people. So if you're low income, you need more resources in order to get the same result of people who have more income. And then in transportation is another issue we hear a lot about. It's essential to be able to get out and about and do the things we love to do. The land use pattern of Marin County, the suburban land use pattern, has resulted in, as family members move on and partners die off, isolated seniors, isolated older Marin residents, living in a land use pattern where they can't walk to their daily needs. And as Marin Transit statistic shows, that their programs are targeted to help low-income, older residents in Marin who are transit-dependent and living alone. So these are all the issues that we have. You know, some are bigger in your community and your organization that we face looking at people who are getting older. The reason why we have Aging Action Marin is because of the silos. Now, silos aren't, I think they're normal, they're natural. You go across the country, you see them everywhere. Silos are the organizations that we live in, the communities that we live in, or affinity groups that we have. These are all silos. The question is, how do you get around them? And I shared this at the convening that we had in March. We all talk a slightly different way, but we can find the ways to work around the bridges between the silos, the tunnels underneath the ground to get from one silo or another. We can figure that out. And that's what Aging Action Initiative is about in many ways, is how can we get together and collaborate to address those issues. This is our mission statement: to promote a county-wide, so it's for Marin County, age-friendly environment, especially for those in need. And at the end, that's one of the questions I will ask you is, who is in need in your community? Collectively created by a strong, diverse network. So we are a network of organizations. Through a system-wide approach to public education, policy advocacy, and service coordination. I'll talk about that a little bit more coming down. Things that we do. This is our focus. AAI for the startup years was very active on doing programs. Now we are focusing on talking about community issues through the lens of aging, systemic change that we need to make in order to be more effective and more efficient in addressing those issues, and leveraging our existing efforts that we do collaboratively. One of the challenges with how many people find it a challenge with the age thing? What's the age limit of your organization? So Shelley put this together. I was asking, we were talking, what age should we use? Well, if you are, ARP, you can join at 50. My husband can get Social Security now, but he's thinking of waiting, if he can, till he's 70. A lot of census data, if you really want to dive into challenges, start at 85. So that's the realm that we are currently working in. These are the activities we're doing this year in 2017. So we started our newsletter. Does everybody get our newsletter? Yeah? Do you get our newsletter? If you don't get our newsletter, we focus each month on a different topic. This month it's mental health and dementia. We've talked about shared housing and transportation, and that's our little web email address up there if you want to get our newsletter that comes out. We had an annual convening in March where we did some work on our draft strategic plan. And we're working right now on putting that together with the steering committee using all those results. Let's see, so we have two things coming up, programs this fall. One is with Detect and Connect. So you may recall that last year and the year before there was some effort with Detect and Connect on education for the public about people who have dementia. We are starting up a Train the Trainer workshop, and those workshops will be on September 13th and October 3rd. So you'll be getting more information to sign up and be part of that training. And then you'll be part of a cohort that will be available for organizations and faith groups and neighborhood groups and businesses and public agencies to do a short training that's interactive about what to do if someone comes in the bank and wants to clear out the bank account because a grandchild's in trouble. So how to respond to that. So that's a program coming up. So maybe not you, but if you know somebody who's interested in doing that, when you see the information, talk to them about it. We'll be kicking off the availability of these workshops in mid-October. The second thing is Inform and Connect. So last year we did we did the same workshop 3 times. And this time we're going to do a repeat of that Inform and Connect workshop, and Fred is on the committee that's helping to plan that. The first workshop in September 21st is for frontline workers, people who are answering the phone and would like to know more about the resources in the county. We talk about housing resources, transportation, nutrition. It's an in-depth, all-day event up at Homeward Bound. The second workshop we're going to do as a more advanced course, it will be focusing on end of life and care. So, and a lot of different different ways. So, and that will be available in 2 parts. So you could go for the whole day, morning or afternoon. And we're very excited about that. So those are the dates. You can make a note, and if you get our newsletter, you hear about it. So we are working on a strategic plan. Because what do we need to focus on over the next 3 years in the initiative so that everybody can be doing the best that they can in their organization? Planning, to me, is always 2 parts. One of them is a product. It's a plan. It's got a mission. It has values. It has a vision. It has goals. It has metrics. It has a way to evaluate what you're doing and repeat. And it's also a process. It's how do you get that plan put together? So we had our convenings, actually our March convening built on work that was done at previous convenings. Steering committee had a retreat. I'm going to share a little snapshot of what they've come up with, but we'll be working on a draft plan over the next month. We'll have material to share, so if you'd like a loop, what I call a loop out, like Shelley or me to come and talk with your group about the draft plan and get your feedback on it, let us know. I'll put the number up again. And then the steering committee will review it in October, and we'll be presenting it to the board by the end of the year. So we have a mission. That's the first thing you need. The next thing, you really have to identify what are the values in your organization. We do have, how many people came to the convening in March? Yeah, so some of you may be interested in seeing this. We have the raw data from that. If you were, there's some extra copies. We'll pass these around. You can see what we did at the convening was ask people to write down what they think are the values embodied in the Aging Action Initiative. What are the ways that we work within the initiative and the ways we work as we work out in the community? Took all those words, sorted them, grouped them up, and came up with this list. So there's not enough for everybody, so feel free to pass on it if you don't want the paper. But the 5 that rose to the top, the 5 words that came to the top, and we're working on fleshing these out more, we're all about collaboration. So working together. We're about, and these 3 words, this group that worked on this lumped them together, so it was 3 words here. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. About respect, compassion, and communication, which really does, I think, sum up what we are about in AAI. So if you have some questions or comments at the end, I'd love to hear what you think about these 5 values. And the next thing is, okay, the vision. So you have to know where you're going in order to get there, as Yogi Berra says. There's a lot of questions we had going into this planning process. So what does lens of aging mean? Are we cross-sector for organizations, or do we work directly with clients? What does collective mean? System-wide approach? We had a lot of questions going in, and this is what the vision can help identify and describe so that we can focus our work. And it's a little bit, we started on March 29th at the convening. We asked people to write down their vision thoughts for 2020. What does AAI look like 3 years from now? We compiled all that together, and I also have that handout along with the questions that so again, I don't think there's enough for everybody, but if you just want the raw data, this is just the raw data, but it's kind of, if you're a planner, it's really exciting stuff. But we're working on the narrative to take it to the next level. Then the last thing we're working at, and I need to mention that it is a draft, are the 4 strategic actions that we'll be focusing on. Now, this is not something to go out and announce yet or publish because it's not publishable yet. But the first is to build our capacity to exercise. Right now, we're a pretty small organization, as Shelley and I keep reminding ourselves. We're mighty, but small. And develop a value proposition about what AAI provides to Marin County. organizations to the county and the cities and the community at large. And then some goals, specific goals that we can work on with data. And then finally, the most exciting part, I think, for some people in the room, is the AgeFriendly Initiative. So you think about age-friendly plans, we have a lot in the works. I added County of Marin. I know it's kind of still in a seedling kind of stage, maybe not even that, but we're working on it. And so that's a priority. What does that mean for Aging Action Initiative? How can we support? I'm a planner, so I've already offered to look at your applications, and I can add my planning stuff to it. But I think it's very exciting because, again, with a good plan, you can make good changes. So that is an overview of where we are with the Aging Action Initiative this year. And I'm really excited to get your thoughts on a couple of questions, on some questions. And, if you have any questions about the initiative in general. But it would be helpful for us to know in your town, your community, when you talk about Aging Action Initiative is for those in need, what does that mean? Who is that? Who is that in your town? I'm looking around, I see people from all over Marin, so I want to walk out of here with something from every place. And then your thoughts about collaborations. What do you see as successful, the best collaborations going on in your town? And where do you think we can be stronger, where we can do some, where we can look at and build collaborations? So. And then last, any other questions? So we'll start off with the first one, in need. Love to hear, okay, yes.
Sorry, okay. Can you hang on 1 second, Jody?
Oh, we're going to do a double mic thing here.
So in Fairfax, one of the strongest needs we have as a community is volunteer help. The Fairfax volunteers are always recruiting. Age-Friendly Fairfax needs more volunteers to help. So engaging communities to spend some of their, quote, discretionary time giving back to their communities is probably an initiative I would guess all of Marin struggles with. We have a very politically engaged community as a rule, but it's a handful, a good solid handful of people. There are a lot of other needs in the community that we need volunteers for, in particular, for me personally, Age-Friendly Task Force. So,
excellent, that's Fairfax. Another one here.
Well, Mayan, okay. Now, I live in a pretty wealthy area in Marin County. I live in the town of Ross, and you think, in need in Ross? But my husband and I have lived in our house for about 30 years. And on either side of us, we've had neighbors who are older women who actually lived until their 90s, one on one side and one on the other, who didn't have family or had family that lived far away, and they were isolated and depressed and lonely. And as neighbors, we made a point of checking in with them on a regular basis because they didn't have family. So I think in need means, for us, being thoughtful neighbors, knowing who your neighbors are, whether you live in a wealthy community or in a poor community. If you're isolated and depressed and you don't know what to do about it, it's a problem. If you have some money, you can do something about it. If you don't have money, it becomes even more of a problem. So I think in need means neighbors really looking after each other.
I'm struck by when you describe them as in their 90s. I'm doing some meetups and talking with people across the county. And when I spoke with somebody from Hospice by the Bay, she described one of the issues being people in their 90s who are lying low. They don't want to be discovered. They're at home because they feel like they're going to lose their home. So that kind of support of what you're talking about is a way to help them be able to stay at home and be connected. But that, yeah. Okay.
Yes, Linda. Hi. I wanted to add to what Terry was saying. I live in San Rafael up in the Highlands. I'm 81. In the past year or two, I've had problems with mobility with my hip. My neighbors, I live on a street, a little cul-de-sac, there are 6 houses. I can't tell you how supportive my neighbors have been. Everything. They come by, they're not intrusive, but they want to know, whatever you need, call us, let us know. We'll take out your garbage can, we'll take you shopping, whatever you need. And we all communicate with each other. When somebody's going on vacation, we email each other. But I have a strong family support system, but this neighborhood is amazing. I can't say enough about the value. If we can get that in most communities, oh my God.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
Keeping people from feeling lonely and depressed and hopeless, yeah, it's priceless.
Yes, very good. Okay.
I recently visited the congregate lunch that is offered in the Corte Madera Community Center, and one of the volunteers there offers dog food to one of the regular attendees because she's unable to provide for her pet, which gives her a lot of, reassurance and comfort. And I'm sure this woman who received the dog food is not alone in having that need. And so it goes beyond just the personal and the human, but providing the supporting the support, essentially. And I'm sure there are other folks with animals that need a little help.
There is an organization that started up, and that's coming to mind right now, but they're starting up to provide that. So it may be a way in our Aging Action Initiative to get that information out of pet support for seniors who look for that. In the county.
Marin Humane Society offers that.
Right. This is somebody else who does it too, but Marin Humane Society does offer that. But you're right. That's a good one.
Yeah. So Marin Humane Society has a share program. Well, they'll work with seniors or anybody low income in need to provide support for your pets, food, etc. So you can contact them.
And yeah.
Hi, so I work with technology and educating seniors in technology, which you would think is sort of not a huge need, but it is a need. And one of the things I see in home visits, people who are living alone who are sort of need home management help. They're sort of hoarders. They've got boxes and boxes of papers and newspapers and food and things that they're just sort of overwhelmed by. So home visits maybe, or some sort of home organizational education, volunteers that maybe can come in and just help them throw stuff away. And the other thing I was thinking is transportation's huge. I just worked with a lady who got in a car accident. She lost her car. She's alone, and now she has no education about how to get around. Right. So she's asking me, what do I do? Who do I call? That kind of thing. So transportation and home management.
So I'll put in a plug for Marin Transit. They do have these navigators, so hook her up with that. And Marin Transit comes and talks at our Inform and Connect workshop about all these services they have to help people understand when they don't have the car anymore, they can still get around. Especially with Smart coming online now too, you can get around even further, more easily. So anybody else on the in-need question? I think, oh yeah, we've got here. And Sue, did you have one too?
I mean, it's just to really highlight. When you said that, I wrote down isolated, single, low-income, majority woman without community support. And I think the Marin Villages is attempting to provide that. Is that not true? Yeah, so the village movement, to support that village movement, I think, in more communities is the way to go.
Right. Marin Villages as one of the strongest innovations in Marin County right now.
Yeah, I've got the microphone.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
As a longtime resident of Terra Linda, I've moved next door to Drake Terrace, and I'm increasingly finding people who have come to live in Marin because their children either live in Marin or in one of the nearby communities. And these people don't know much about life here, and therefore aren't fully able to take advantage of the many things that are available, including transportation.
A welcome wagon for the new older residents moving in. There's an interesting statistic number I saw when I've been playing around with the census. So, you know, you can get the number of people at 60, the number of people at 62, and the number of people at 65. And the population from 62 to 65 goes down by about a third. So we have people moving out. Some of them, no doubt, are renters who can't afford to live here anymore, so they make a choice. Or they're going to go live with their children somewhere. So at the same time, we have this influx of people coming here. Okay, anybody else? Another one here.
I'm Belvedere's representative and fairly new. And one of the things that I need, and I think the community needs, is a way of actually identifying seniors' needs in Belvedere. It's a community where the seniors sit in their houses and they really don't come out and say, I need this, I need that. One of the avenues, two avenues I'm exploring is a piece in the Belvedere Quarterly e-newsletter, and the other is I'm the block captain for an area, and every block captain now has a list of everybody in their block, their age, and their relatives, and I'm thinking that maybe that's a way to begin to at least identify the people and be able to talk to each block captain and build some support for people. But it's very difficult to find out much about seniors in Belvedere. Yeah. And we have a higher percentage in Belvedere than almost any other part of the county.
Yes, you do. The age-friendly planning effort can help you walk through those steps of identification and then thinking about how they can. You got some ideas here about the block captain, the block lookout for each other on items. That's the fun about this group, is being able to network like that. Alan.
Hi, I'd like to speak for more collaboration with the fire departments. They are called very frequently to help seniors, particularly those who've fallen in their homes. And I worked with CERT for many years, the emergency response team in Southern Marin Fire. And we attempted just in a feeble sort of way to do what Jim says is going on in Belvedere, but getting block captains and so forth. But it was never pursued very vigorously. And we moved to the Tiburon Fire Department district, and they seem to be totally unaware of these this identification of who is in need in case of emergency. And I think that's a big gap that Aging Action could pursue with the fire departments. I don't know if we've had any fire department participation in AAI. Thanks.
Thank you. We will. Okay, so let's talk about collaborations. That's definitely a collaboration I think we could be stronger on, is a greater collaboration need. We have in some of our towns, some tremendous senior center activities going on, maybe not in all of them, and that might be a way where we can build on some stronger collaborations, certainly with the fire department and the police department. How about either collaborations you know of that are working really well that we need to be aware of if we're not already? And then what are some areas that you think collaboration might be stronger, is needed? So, fire department being an example. Okay, do you want to get you the mic and maybe you can talk about a little bit more what you think about police department?
My wife worked for the Sheriff's Department for 18 years, and she said the police know everything about everybody.
Oh, there you go. Have to get them talking to the fire department.
So I met with the Belvedere Police Chief, Trish Seiler, and she is really keen to participate in anything that we want to do. And I have a good friend who is a battalion chief in Tiburon Fire, and he reinforced what Alan said, that they're out there. Only 20% of their activities are fire-related. The rest are all EMT and associated things. So they're an important part of any collaboration.
Okay. Sybil in the front. Oh, and yes, sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up about what you said about police, because after I went to Detect and Connect, I went to the police chief and I said, you guys need to take this training. But then our police chief left and we got a new police chief, so now I have to go back and try again to sell it. But as far as collaborations, we meet at the police station every third Wednesday for talks that are sponsored by Corte Madera Parks and Rec, AgeFriendly Corte Madera, and the Twin Cities Village. So we collaborate to present these topics that are of interest to the older adults, and it's a great collaboration.
It's great, great. Two in the front row over here.
So regarding collaborations with the police and the fire department, in South Salito, we've been working very closely with the police department on the Are You OK program to get more seniors registered with the police department, and then they actually have that mapped into their police cars, so that if there's something going on, any kind of an emergency, they know where the seniors are who are most in need. And that's one program. And also distributing the vial of life and envelope of life containers so that people can have their health information on their refrigerator. If they do need EMTs to come or have an emergency. And then we've worked with the fire department, the Chief Tubbs at Southern Marin Fire, to come and, because EMTs are the first responders in most cases, and the number one reason for South Salito residents to go to the hospital, older residents, is falls. We've been working with them on doing a couple of things, working on putting together a fall prevention program, and also for the EMTs to notice things in houses when they do go that they can recommend, that they can note, maybe need changes. And then the other thing is we've invited them to come, and they have come and talk to us about making plans for our neighborhood communities for emergencies, so that as a community, as a apartment complex, for example, we come together to decide where people will go if there's an emergency, and that we have everybody's contact information, and work out an actual fire plan. What if you live on the second floor and there's no way to get out the one stairway? How do you get out? So they're great on working with those kinds of things, and that's already underway if people want to talk to their fire departments and police.
Okay, and then Salama, just a second. How much more time do we have, Amy, on this? I know. So how many more minutes do we have? When do you want to stop so you have time to break up? You want to stop at 11? Okay, we're good. Okay, so we have like front row going the whole way.
I have an idea for us to start a coalition with our mail service. Who comes to everybody's house every single day? Well, except Sunday. And takes notes of, gee, the mail is piling up. Are they on vacation or are they down? So
there is something like that, but I think it's getting the word out about that and how to sign up for it. Yeah. Right.
And well, that's vacation report. I'm talking about every day.
Are you
not
okay?
Just vacation.
I think it's the name of it. Yeah.
My understanding is there is a program in place up in Sonoma County, and where? And Novato, but it is a formal collaboration that you need to work with and get the Postal Service to sign on to, where they will notify it, and Sausalito has that too, so maybe getting more community.
Ellie.
Did anyone mention any of the senior groups within each community? Like Novato has their senior center, Margaret Todd and Joe's Whistle Stop. But also, I just came from my yoga class. And in Tiburon and Belvedere, there is a very good recreation program. And Alan and I put out stuff concerning senior issues all the time. So I think there's always going to be a group that doesn't participate. And or they go away, or they're just go to their book club or a thing like that in places like Tiburon and Belvedere. But I find the people my age are very active in recreation programs, still maybe playing a little bit of tennis, but they go to play bridge. So I think there is activity there.
Yeah. Okay, and then we'll start moving around over here, Terry, and then Marianne.
Successful collaboration. It took, some of you know, it took 2 years in the making to get Novato age-friendly, but Marin Villages, Episcopal Senior Communities, Novato Independent Elders, the Rotary, and the city finally came together in total support, and I think we'll be networking in the fire department and the police department. But I also wanted to say that one of the most successful collaborations I participated in was the Aging Action Initiative Mental Health and Dementia Work Group, because Shelley really did a great and outstanding job of organizing us. And I've been thinking about it. It was so good. We had a goal, and I would like to see, of course, Detect Connect like everywhere, like now. But I think it would be great if we met like on a quarterly basis, because the collaboration in that group, there were about 20 of us. We met regularly, and we got to know each other, and there'd probably be more opportunities for communication and collaboration if we met like on a quarterly basis with like maybe a speaker and then just a sharing, because you can only really collaborate when you're in touch with one another. So that would be my pitch, is to get everyone in those work groups meeting on a regular basis and having some informal functions so we can hang out.
Yeah. So welcome, you're welcome to be back with this group that's planning the workshops that are coming up, the training. And the Inform and Connect group is similar. We don't have ongoing groups anymore, but they're sort of project related, but this is something certainly the steering committee can give some thought to within the capacity that we have. There's a member about to speak right now.
I was listening, on my way to work, I was listening to National Public Radio, and this is a collaboration that's in New York City, but I thought, what a good idea. It's working with the public libraries and including them in our collaborations, because the libraries are part of the community. People know where they are generally, and they can play a more active role in supporting services and information. They're a venue where trainings can be provided. So I think we should include libraries in our collaboration.
Got it. Okay. Got another one here.
I'm looking for collaborators. So I'll just do a little shameless self-promotion. This is a three-wheeled vehicle I can pedal, and I took folks in the 4th of July parade in Corte Madera. They just loved it. It was the time of their life, and they've had 90-plus years, each of them. So this is a program called Cycling Without Age, and I think of it mostly as recreation, but it could also getting people out who might be in a residence where they don't get out much, feeling the wind in their hair and being out in the community and participating. So if anyone wants to talk to me about it, please do.
Okay.
I just wanted everybody to know that the City of Novato, through our Nextdoor website, has been posting where to go on the hot days, and so that those with fragile health and the heat, they have a place to escape to.
And we got over here on the right, or the left? No, never mind. Anybody else? Okay, I think about collaborations too, and greatest need. I think about our immigrant community. So these are folks who are in peril. I just went to the East Coast, and it's not quite the same. California has a lot of immigrants, so it's a big issue for us. Many of our older Latinos are naturalized because of immigration reform that happened when they were young. They're worried about their children. And their children often are the service workers that provide the services in the senior centers and the restaurants and the caregivers and their children. And so you talk about in need, that's a population we're not really that aware of, but tremendously dependent on. And housing and transportation comes into play with that one in order to have people who are going to be around to take care of our neighbors and ourselves when we get there. In need also in terms of an equity of people who are of color, and as they get older, do they have the same access, the same quality of care as people who are better resourced? And what can we do in the Aging Action Initiative to play a part to make sure that in Marin there is full access and ability to have what you need to age well? And then on collaborations, lots of great ideas. I think we're all thinking, what we can do with our local jurisdictions. The age-friendly planning effort, listening to Sybil talk about what Sausalito has, might not have had that big scope 6 years ago before you ever started, the plan was ever thought of. So that planning effort is a way to connect with City Hall and the county to get those public resources going on in your community. So any other thoughts on collaboration and what, Alan.
I know you briefly mentioned SMART earlier, but I think we should have a Seniors for SMART organization. There are a lot of things that seniors can do with it. It's not just a commuter railroad. We can have recreational excursions to Petaluma and Santa Rosa and beyond later, and we can also foster more caregivers traveling on the SMART down to caregiving jobs in Marin, which are needed more and more.
Right, there's 68,000 people commute to jobs here. That impacts the quality of care that we get because folks don't want to have that hour commute each way. That's a great idea on the SMART, SMART venture. That's going to be. Who's taken the train ride yet? Has anyone done that? I mean, you can sign up to go on a free drive. They're doing one this weekend, so I'm hoping to go. But it's going to be a heritage ride through some of the most beautiful parts of this country. So SMART.
Just wanted to mention a couple of other important collaborations, and that is with the service groups in the community, Lions, Rotary, Moose, if you have a group there, and also Chamber of Commerce. It's more and more important, I think, to get the local business community on board as well, because they can do a lot of things, especially in terms of in-kind assistance and for different projects, and often will contribute in ways that to thank volunteers and all sorts of things like that. So that's another important type collaborative in the community.
And we have a collaboration for end of life with Hospice by the Bay. So, and that's throughout the county.
Okay. Time for one or two more comments, and then we're going to let the setup happen. So we have time, plenty.
I am the social worker over at Lifelong Marin Adult Day Health Center, and a lot of people don't know that we take Medi-Cal. So in addition to the activities we have during the day, we also have physical therapy, occupational therapy, a registered nurse, and myself, the social worker. And we take Medi-Cal, and then the VA will also pay for people to come to us for the day. So in addition to giving the caregivers a break, it also is a safe space for seniors and older adults to come and spend the day and do something positive with their day.
And the name one more time?
It's Lifelong Marin Adult Day Health Center.
Okay, and then right behind you.
Thank you. Good morning. Lee Pullen, Director of Marin County's Aging and Adult Services, and I just wanted to get this in before you wrapped up. I don't know if I'm getting the timing just right, but I wanted to thank and acknowledge you, Linda, and Shelley, and the staff of Marin Space for really leading us ahead in these last few months as we've gone into Aging Action Initiative 2.0, and of course Joe, who's been our steering committee chair for 2+ years now, at least that, and a founding member. And I want to acknowledge the Board of Supervisors, not just because they're my boss, but because they have been funding us, and especially Supervisor Rodoni's here with us this morning in the audience, West Marin and Central Marin, and as far as I know, he just came out because of his own personal interest in older adults and older adults issues, which I find especially meaningful. So thank you, Supervisor, for that.
Thank you. So this won't be a surprise to you, or this may be a surprise to you, but we're going to bring a draft plan to you and your fellow supervisors at the end of this year. I wanted to just end on a couple things. We are going to do loop outs in August. Not many people are meeting in August, so it's easy for me to say. And September, which is a busy month. But if you would like a short, we can blow it up to an hour or do it in 15 minutes, but an overview about the draft plan. What is Aging Action Initiative about? What are we going to be doing the next 3 years? Give us a call. We've got our phone number there at Marin Space to line up a date and a time, and one of us will be there. And we've got one more slide, I think. There we go. Thank you. So, okay, thank you.